Sir Keir Starmer has said the next weeks and months will be crucial in Ukraine as he held White House talks with Joe Biden, declaring that the UK and the US were strategically aligned as they faced warnings of war from Vladimir Putin. The Prime Minister said it was important the two countries continue to support the Eastern European nation in its fight against Russia. The pair sat in the Blue Room at the White House on Friday as the Prime Minister spoke of how the UK and US are strategically aligned in their attempts to resolve the war. Sir Keir said the next weeks and months will be crucial in Ukraine and said it was important the two countries continue to support the Eastern European nation in its fight against Russia. Meanwhile, when asked what he thought about Russian President Putin's threat of war, his US counterpart Ms. Biden said, "I don't think much about Vladimir Putin." Ms. Biden and Sir Keir were pictured alongside their teams in the Blue Room of the White House as the talks began. The Prime Minister emerged after their meeting to tell reporters it had been very productive, though he gave no details about any new policy agreements, including on whether to let Ukraine use US-provided Army tactical missile systems for attacks on Russia. He had earlier told Ms. Biden at the White House, "Historically, we've shown the strength of our relationship. We are strategically aligned and we have a common cause on these global issues." Ms. Biden thanked Sir Keir for his leadership during the Ukraine conflict, adding, "The United States is committed to standing with you to help Ukraine as it defends against Russia's onslaught of aggression. It's clear that Putin will not prevail in this war. The people of Ukraine will prevail." The US president said the two leaders were meeting to talk about Ukraine, the need for a hostage and ceasefire deal in the Middle East, and about the Indo-Pacific region. He told the PM, "I've often said there's no issue of global consequence where the United States and UK can't work together and haven't worked yet." Following his meeting with US President Joe Biden on Friday, Sir Keir Starmer described the talks as long and productive. Asked if he had managed to persuade Ms. Biden to allow Ukraine to fire missiles into Russian territory, the PM said, "Well, we had a long and productive discussion on a number of problems, including Ukraine, as you'd expect, the Middle East, and the Indo-Pacific, talking strategically about tactical decisions. This isn't about a particular decision, but we'll obviously pick up again in UNGA, UN General Assembly, in just a few days' time with a wider group of individuals. But this was a really important invitation from the President to have this level of discussion about those critical issues." He added that the quickest way to end the war in Ukraine lies through what Putin actually does. Questioned on whether the pair were creating the impression that Russian President Vladimir Putin was intimidating them, the PM said, "Well, there's only one reason we're having these discussions, and that is Putin has illegally invaded Ukraine. And the quickest way to resolve this obviously lies through what Putin actually does, because it's for him to end this." He also denied the need to weaken Vladimir Putin within months was because of the possibility of a victory for Donald Trump in November's presidential election. The meeting came after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed his frustration at the continued restrictions on the use of Western weaponry against Russian targets. In a lengthy statement posted on X, Mr. Zelensky said after meeting with Foreign Secretary David Lammy and his US counterpart Antony Blinken earlier this week, there should be no unanswered questions about why Ukraine needs sufficient long-range capabilities. Mr. Lammy and Mr. Blinken were pressed on the use of Western weaponry during their visit to Ukraine earlier this week, but said they had to report back to their bosses, the Prime Minister and US President. Mr. Putin said allowing long-range strikes would mean that NATO countries, the United States, and European countries are at war with Russia. If this is so, then, bearing in mind the change in the very essence of this conflict, we will make appropriate decisions based on the threats that will be created for us. This comes after the US president signaled a new openness to allowing Ukraine to send long-range missiles into Russia amid a warning from Vladimir Putin that such a move would lead to war. American officials had previously told CNN that they did not expect an immediate sign-off from Biden on allowing US-provided Army tactical missile systems, known as ATACMS, to be launched on targets inside Russia. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more news updates. Hit subscribe for latest news.